Hi everyone, welcome back to this week of RHO Market Chat. As usual, we will go through some recaps, and this week I want to talk about the US presidential election that will be happening in less than 3 months' time in November this year, and how this will affect the stock market. For the follow-up with the gold trade plan, last week we had the gold going through one of the steepest two-day correction in the last 6 years. So it was a big correction, and question is whether the gold rally is over. So I want to discuss a little bit about that, and I want to talk about the economic calendar coming up this week, and also some of the Chinese company that will be reporting results. And I want to highlight some of the earning calendars for the Chinese companies. All right, so let's recap a little bit. So I was talking about S&P coming very close to the all-time high at 3394. All right, so S&P was, last week it was trying to challenge that high at 3394. In fact, it went to as high as 3387. Perhaps this week S&P might try that high. All right, so let's watch out. It has been like last week trying to challenge that high, but didn't make it. Maybe this week it might. All right, and I was talking about the US dollar being weak, forming a dead cross and breaking below the uptrend channel. All right, and since last week, not a lot of things have happened for the US dollar. It remained weak. All right, rebound a little, remain weak. So watch the US dollar for clue, because a lot of things depends on the dollar, especially the commodity. All right, so if dollar continue to go down, commodity prices will continue to go up, and that will be good for the emerging markets. All right, so I was talking about my gold macro trade plan, and I said, well, gold hit 2000, and if it breaks 2000, I mean, briefly went above like 2085 at the high, and since then, it took a major correction all the way to as low as 1863. All right, so it went as low as 1863, and it has rebounded. All right, to the last time I saw it was 1950. Okay, so last week we talked about getting everybody prepared for the Hang Seng Index review. So we just had the results of Hang Seng review last Friday, and true enough, what we talked, I said that I was bullish on Xiaomi and Alibaba. These are the two prime candidate for inclusion, and indeed it was included. And if you had my emails, I sent, so last week I said about 3 companies that I thought might be removed from the index: Sinoland and Wanwan, and also China Xinhua Energy. So this was the 3 companies that were removed from the Hang Seng Index. So that chapter is over. So what about this week? So this week I want to talk about the US presidential election and the stock market. So the US presidential election is going to happen pretty soon in November. All right, and we are already seeing some action. All right, so we know that Donald Trump is lagging behind in nationwide approval rating and polls, all right, presidential election polls. And recently we saw a return rebound, all right, perhaps maybe because the coronavirus infection cases has been reduced. Maybe that could be the reason why we see a little rebound. But overall, he has been lagging in all the states, all right. So if nothing is done, I think Donald Trump knows that he's going to lose the election. So what is he doing about that? What we saw over the news is that, this guy is not ready to throw in the tower, right? So clearly, a lot of his strategy is not working, except one, which is the Chinese bashing campaign. So it looks like he is banging on this hope of China bashing campaign to drum up support, all right, for his presidential campaign. Although I don't think that's tactically a right strategy, but this strategy has not been condemned either by the Democrats or the Republicans. In fact, in the Democratic candidate speeches recently by Biden and even the Vice President-elect Kamala, none of them actually brought up, all right, his anti-Chinese campaign, which shows that the Democrats and the Republicans are largely aligned to the objective of debasing China. All right, so we saw last week that as a part of the Clean Network program, all right, Donald Trump announced the banning of WeChat and parents Tencent from any business dealing in US from 20th of September to forcing ByteDance divest TikTok US operation to US by 12th of November, all right, 2020. So by 12th November 2020, all right, this company's US company cannot have anything to do with this Chinese company, all right? So clearly his punitive action will not end here because he is banking on this strategy for his election campaign, all right? So there will be more bans on Chinese company. And in fact, today, right, we have news about Trump indicating that he will expand his ban even to Alibaba and other Chinese firms in US. And that is why today, although we had news of Alibaba being included into the Hang Seng Index, it hardly moved, all right? So it is clear that he's not going to stop here. And that is why, all right, although I'm long-term bullish on Alibaba, Tencent, and NetEase, I think investors should be avoiding companies like this until the situation become clearer. So for now, I'm a little weary on Chinese technology stock, particularly those that has got exposure to US. All right, so stay out of those. Perhaps we probably need to stay out of this company until perhaps another 1 to 2 months, and until we have a clearer picture on Donald Trump's strategy. All right. So and on my trade plan, right, Tencent trade plan that I even showed last week. All right, Tencent seems to have headed into my resistance at 561. All right, and there's a good chance that it might pull back to 472. Although the fundamentals of Tencent is fantastic, I mean, just announced great results. But with all this uncertainty surrounding it, short term, we could see Tencent pulling back. All right, so if Tencent breaks, all right, or stay below the 512 or 510 mark, right? If it stays below the 510 mark, all right, we could see a correction perhaps to 472, and that could be a good support for Tencent. But always not gloomy for China on the bigger picture, although we have a relentless Chinese bashing news coming out of the White House. But, we saw institutions flogging, all right, to buy Chinese bonds, all right, and that's why we're seeing a lot of strength, all right, in the Chinese renminbi. Okay, so I expect the Chinese renminbi to continue to strengthen against the US dollars, all right, and Donald Trump, all right, today, right, you could see Donald Trump seeking to block 25 billion emergency injection sought by the Postal Service. All right, so we all know that this round of the Democrats have proposed, all right, the election is done through postal service, and we see clearly Donald Trump is not going to throw in his towel so easily. In fact, all right, he said last week that he was blocking the 25 billion emergency injection sought by postal service, as well as Democratic proposal to provide a 3.6 billion additional election money to the states. All right, so Donald Trump is worried that the mail-in vote, right, is going to cost him his re-election, or he is trying, all right, to use all means, all right, to delay the election. Right, the money for the postal office is intended to help process an expected surge in the mail-in ballots, and therefore by blocking these funds, right, there's no way that the postal service could conduct, all right, this election in November. All right, so just today, all right, or this weekend, actually the Senate has already gone into recess. All right, they have been sent home for holidays, but boy, because of Trump's action, Pelosi, all right, the Speaker of the House Representatives, right, is cutting short lawmakers' summer recess with a vote expected the Saturday after the Democratic National Convention on legislation that would prohibit changes at the agency extension mounts. All right, so President Donald Trump, new Postmaster General Louis DeJoy has sparked nation outcry over delay, new prices, and cutback, just as millions of Americans were trying to vote by mails to avoid polling places during the coronavirus outbreak. All right, so this legislation is being prepared for the vote. All right, and the delivering for the American Act would prohibit, right, the Postal Service from implementing any change to operation or the level of service. So it's quite serious. The House, the Speaker of House Representatives don't call back the lawmaker from their holidays unless it's something urgent. So what we are seeing here is that Donald Trump is finding all sort of ways, all right, to get back into the race. All right, he's not going to like I said, be throwing in the towel so easily. And therefore, right, I expect going forward as the election campaign hots up, right, we are going to see a lot of volatility in the market. And I think, all right, we could see some correction. So we have to be careful, all right, going in, especially when we have the, problems like, like internal political problems in the U.S. In the run-up to the U.S. election. So lastly, I want to show you my gold trade plan. All right, so I don't believe that, gold had the biggest two-day correction in 6 years, okay? And it hit the high of 2085 and went to a low of 1862 and then rebounded, all right? So technically, according to my trade plan, still on the uptrend, all right? So now, all right, things are not going to be very easy from here because of this correction. So, but after this correction, the market, gold is going to take a while to regain its posture, to regain its uptrend. So it's going to be trading within the range. And this is the range, right, that I plotted, all right? And, as of now, it should be trading between 1925 to 1965 perhaps. And if it breaks 1965, all right, we could see it, all right, going higher, all right, trading into the next range. And for those of you who are watching this gold prices very closely, follow this trade plan, and unless, all right, gold breaks below this, all right, this trade plan, which is the next time if it breaks the 1862 again, it will not be good, all right. So but as long as it stays above this trend channel, it should be fine, and it should work itself up again to test the all-time high. All right, so don't give up on gold yet. I'm still bullish on it. Stay long on it. All right, so this is the U.S. economic calendar data and the Chinese economic calendar data ahead. Take a look for yourself. Okay, and also the earning calendars for Chinese company. Tonight we have JD.com, tomorrow China Fei He, and I think the highlight this week will be Hong Kong Stock Exchange and Alibaba. All right, and I expect Hong Kong Stock Exchange to have some blockbuster results coming in, and Alibaba's results should also be good, but with the threat, all right, to banning U.S. tech companies, which include Alibaba, hanging, all right, that could, cap, all right, Alibaba's prices, all right, in the short term. Okay, so this is what I have for you this week. Thank you for tuning in. I hope to see you next week again.